I can promise you right now, there's going to be a season 2, and there's going to be a lot of more interactions with season 2. Hello everybody, and welcome to the 7th and final episode of season 1 of the Behind HB podcast. If you haven't been following along already, hello. My name is Brooke, also known as Honeybrook, and I am your host of the Behind HB podcast. So in this episode, we are going to be kind of reflecting on this whole season, and after I would go in and edit every episode, or just literally at random times of the day, a really good idea would come to me. So in my notes app, I was just writing down which episode this would fit into and what the idea was. So today I feel like it'd be good to kind of go through each episode, reflect on the episode and then the podcast as a whole, and then all the little side notes that I came up with after the fact, which I don't know why that always happens, especially with comebacks, but yeah, so it happened again, and yeah, I'm just really excited to do this episode because I feel like from the first time I kind of sat down and filmed, or recorded, I guess, I have grown so much, and all of my goals in the beginning, I definitely feel like I have accomplished and more, in a sense. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, the first thing I wanted to start off by saying is, if you have genuine interest in something, do not let anybody stop you from doing it, including yourself. Because when I was about to post this podcast, literally the night before, I got super in my head about it, and I'm like, you know what, I don't know if I want to go through with this, I feel like people are gonna laugh at me for it, in a sense. But with doing this podcast, I felt so inspired, and I saw such a change in myself, a very positive change, to where I needed to do this for myself, and the fact that I've gotten really positive feedback on it, would make anybody feel pretty good. And the fact I can promise you right now, there's going to be a season 2, and there's going to be a lot of more interactions with season 2, and I have things I have things coming out for season 2, as well as obviously the podcast, stepping it up, maybe having guests, and just stepping it up 10 times. But why not kick it up another notch? And oh my gosh, I can't tell you because it's in the works, and you guys know me, I can't tell you what I'm working on because I move in silence, but I promise you right now, it's gonna be good, and it's coming so easily, so that's how I know it's meant to be. But I just wanted to put that out there right now. Season 2 is definitely guaranteed, and originally I wanted to wait till next year around the same time to do this, but at the same time, guys, I don't know if I could wait. I have a feeling season 2, the Behind HB podcast, is going to be coming very quickly after summer, and I want to say early August. That is kind of what I'm feeling, because I think that is just the perfect time. And yeah, but that first kind of message is something that started playing in my head before I started this, to where if you genuinely are interested in something and want to gain experience and try doing something, do it. You don't have to tell anybody either. You don't have to go, I didn't even talk about this on my social medias at all, besides YouTube, because I thought people would laugh at me for it, and obviously I'm not a professional, and I feel like I do a lot of things, and I always vocalize that, and people are like, wait, didn't you just do that thing and now you're doing this thing? And I know that I shouldn't let that get to me, but it does at times, and I know that's not a healthy habit, but at the end of the day, who cares? I'm doing this for me. We made it through season 1 very successfully, might I add, and I feel like I learned so much too. One of the things I really wanted to accomplish in season 1 was bettering my public speaking, work on seamless editing, because I wanted to, the goal of this whole thing was to try and talk for 15 minutes at least nonstop about a certain topic or a certain subject, and have break it down and try not to or stutter, which inevitably that is going to happen. And of course I did have to edit every single episode, which rightfully so. I mean, like, it is really hard to actually like generate like raw content that like flows together, especially doing something like a podcast where you have to actually edit it. And that wasn't my point, like that wasn't my desire going into this, to like do something and not edit it. But I definitely saw a change to where I like could match things up super perfectly to where it didn't even look like I cut unless you were paying super close attention, and that I am really proud of. Also, the fact I have noticed a change in my public speaking. Well, I wouldn't say public speaking, but like I definitely know what I'm talking about, and if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm not just gonna keep rambling on. Like, I know that it's okay to cut and kind of recollect myself and pick up where I left off. And I definitely noticed a change with like talking just regularly, and also like on my regular YouTube channel, to where before I struggled with that and I never really was super self-aware of that in a sense. So I think that really helped, and I'm really proud of that. Also, another thing too, I became obsessed with not only my podcast, but podcasts as a whole. Like, I was never really into them before, but obviously I started getting into them when I knew I wanted to do this, because I had to do research. Like, I watched tons of videos about this so I would know what I'm doing. In a sense, like, I do like to figure things out on my own, but at the same time, I don't want to jump into something and then not have an idea of what like a structure is, in a sense. So one of the things that really stuck with me when I was doing my research was, you can tell the people who have never listened to a podcast in their entire life, or people who regularly listen to podcasts. And it was something that I took the time to get into, and I'm really glad I did, because it opened up a new world for me that I had no idea that I would like so much. And the fact that like I'm doing this now from like myself too, and like have my own kind of show, which is super cool. And yeah, I mean, that's all I really have to say on that. And I think we should actually get into the episodes now, of reflecting back on what happened during season 1. So our very first episode was how to make 2024 your best year yet. And it's not too late, even though when I filmed that we were in February, and by the time you watched it, we probably were in the middle of February. And even though we are in March, getting close to the end of April, it is still not too late. Literally in June, you could start your year over, because it is not too late. In fact, I was thinking back to, I put podcasting on my vision board, and I think I maybe even have mentioned that, but I also put a camera on my vision board, just like to represent vlogging more and stuff like that. And I actually, not too long ago, I bought a physical like Canon camera, like for vlogging. And I was like, whoa, like I didn't even realize that. So if you're wondering if you should make a vision board, you definitely should, because it's the whole visualizing, and like what is on your vision board is actually like, you don't realize it, but it's actually coming true. So that was all I really had to say for episode 1. That's one of my favorite episodes that I did this season, and I didn't really have any like notes that I was thinking back on it and that I should have added. I'm sure after I say this, it's gonna come to me at just a random time. So maybe during this like podcast break on like my community like section on my channel, I'll like post, oh, for this episode, like I thought of this or whatever. But I also wanted to add, just for all the episodes in general, if I sounded very harsh or like a strict parent, it's just because like that's kind of how I talk to myself, like in the mirror, and like things that like I need to hear or like want to hear in a sense. And kind of just like most of the time I was kind of just theoretically like speaking out loud. So if I sounded like mean or like in a way, I didn't mean it like that. I got very passionate at times. So in episode 2, we talked about activating your inner goddess. That one too, I liked the message of it, but at the same time, nothing really came to me after. I felt like I said everything I needed to say. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a really good episode. I thought it was a good message. Maybe it didn't resonate with everybody, but at the same time, it resonates with somebody. So moving on to episode 3, which was, oh gosh, what was that? Was that romanticizing your life? I should know, right? Yes, it definitely was romanticizing your life. That one, I definitely feel like I could go on and on about it, but at the same time, since we're not on that topic, I can't really get into it at the time. But what I have down for episode 3 for my little like aftertakes is my mindless scrolling on like social media, TikTok, Instagram, like turned into inspiration, where before I would be so addicted to these like perfect aesthetic videos in a sense on my feed, to where it'd be like, now I see them and I'm like, oh yeah, like I could do that. Like, oh, if I'm in like a similar area, I could totally do a video like that. So my mindless scrolling that would kind of be toxic in a way, turned into something that I'm like, yeah, like I could replicate that, I could do that. I don't like have to have that feeling where that's unachievable. Don't get me wrong, there are some perfect videos out there where I'm like, there is absolutely no way. I mean, I'm sure if I tried hard enough, I could do it. I don't want to put that doubt out there, but do I want to attempt like this when I'm perfectly happy with what I'm doing right now? Yes, of course. Maybe down the line, I'll reach that level of like being perfect with my little Instagram reels or whatever, but I just wanted to share that because I thought that was a good little like tip in a way, that if you like look hard enough into the videos, like especially the ones that you really like to watch, you can see where they cut, how they do the angles. So all of that kind of stuff from mindless scrolling, air quotes around that if you're listening, that can turn easily into inspiration for future projects for yourself. On the topic of episode 3, I also put, when you don't have anything to do, live in the moment and just be slow. For example, making your coffee in the morning and just appreciating your peace. This actually came from a personal experience to where I don't remember if I was filming that day. I mean, I'm sure I was, but at the same time, I think I was filming a video later in the day. So it was kind of odd not to be like making a little like morning video or like a day in my life or whatever, just like a short like TikTok or something. And I kind of just like, I was standing there waiting for my coffee to brew, and I'm like, you know what? Like, the morning is slow. I don't have any huge obligations today except for later. I'm appreciating the moment right now. And I feel like that's very important, especially for people who do make content or who have very busy lives, to find like, I know we've talked about this a million times, finding the little things to appreciate, but also appreciating when moments are slow, because a lot of the times we don't acknowledge when moments are actually slow and peaceful. So I thought that was a cool moment to share, and it's rare to have those moments, and so I just thought I would put that in there because maybe it resonates with somebody. Episode 4 was you can do it all, and it's not really what it sounds like. I'm more in that episode was kind of just letting everybody in on my interests, and more of like you were getting to know me, but also if you wanted to go into like content creating or starting a YouTube channel or whatever, finding like your niche. And if you're like me and you have like a million interests and it would be kind of hard to narrow it down, that's genuinely what that episode was about. But I also wanted to add, I maybe even have talked about this in the regular episode, but if you have love and respect for something, and if you have genuine interest in it, don't let it stop you. And I feel like that's kind of how we started off this podcast in a way too, because like look at us now, we're officially adding podcasting to the resume, right? But I feel like who is going to put you down in that same interest when you love and respect it the same amount they do, if not more, right? Like, who says you have to just have one thing and stick to it? I mean, yeah, I guess that's how people grow, that's how people succeed, but that's not us, you know? Anything we do, we can succeed at. Anything we do, we are successful, right? Like, we can do anything and be successful at it. Why have we agreed as a society to pick one thing and stick to it? Which, it makes sense, but that is very much not me, if you couldn't already tell. And you know what? I'm happy, I'm content. My career on the internet is slowly growing every single day, and you know what? It's fine. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to get people to like me for me, and for me to be able to share my life with you. and everything in between. So if you needed to hear that, if this is your sign to start the podcast, write a book, start a YouTube channel, vlog in public, take this as your sign. Moving on to episode 6, which was the most recent one, and that was kind of love is the key to life, the key to everything. And a little tip that came to me, obviously, when I finished the podcast was when you show love to something, it actually strengthens its life. So what I mean by that is, like, I have 2 guppies, right? And I didn't realize how long I actually had them until they came up in my Snapchat memories that I had them for a year. And I'm like, no freaking way. By the way, their names are Chanel and Dior, and then I have a snail named Dusty Rhodes. The snail, he's probably like maybe 6 months old, I don't know. But my fish, I've had them for at least a year. That came up in my memories maybe like 5 months ago. So I've had these fish for quite a while, and I think the reason why they have lived so long, 1, they're living like queens, I'm just gonna say that, but 2, it's because I show them so much love, and I feel like they feel that and they know that. Like, every night before I go to bed, I always, like, I feed them, I turn off their light when they're good and ready, and I always tell them, like, you are so loved. And I think they feel that in a sense. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, fish are known not to have a long lifespan in a sense. I mean, I know they can live for a very long time, but maybe I'm just superstitious, but one of the reasons why my fish have lived so long is because I show them love. And another thing too, maybe this is also just a crazy tip that I've heard on the internet. I've tried it and I never really saw results, but at the same time, I'm going to tell you guys because maybe you're going to have more luck than me. When you're watering your plants, like succulents, flowers, like, I've only really done this with indoor plants. This is gonna sound so crazy. When you're watering your plants, whisper into them, I love you, at least 3 times. And it's supposed to help them grow and, like, live longer. I don't know. I mean, I've had some of the same succulents for so freaking long, and they've grown so much. I didn't even know indoor succulents could grow that much without giving them, like, food or anything. And they've grown so much just by showing them love. I don't know, maybe I'm just crazy, but you know what, it never hurts to try. And that just goes back to the whole thing where just be kind, love everybody, have pure intentions, because at the end of the day, people are going to show their intentions to you, whether they're good or bad, and then you'll have your own peace of mind. So that is kind of everything. I don't want to wrap this up because I'm going to miss this so much, but at the same time, I'm very excited for season 2. I'm very excited for what's to come. I definitely have my work cut out for me for what's coming. In May, I have a super huge, big surprise coming out literally the day before my birthday. And then obviously with summer coming up, there's going to be a lot of vlogs. And then after summer, I think I kind of have my heart set on that's when the podcast is going to pick back up again and carry out maybe into fall. I think winter might be too long, but who knows? Who knows, right? But yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for being here on this journey so far. I've had the time of my life. I feel like I have seen so much growth in myself with doing this podcast and just having a place to kind of share my thoughts in a way, and I had no idea that this would generate a lot of positive feedback, and I feel fulfilled for doing this, and I'm very excited for what the future holds, and I'm very excited for just doing this. So yeah, if you've been here since the beginning, if you've been here at all, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you check out all the links in the description. If you're watching on SoundCloud or listening on SoundCloud, thank you so much again. Please go over to the YouTube channel. I'll leave it in the description if you want to. No pressure. If you're watching on YouTube, like I said, all the links are in the description. I would appreciate it so much if you went over to SoundCloud and followed me there. But again, You don't have to. I just appreciate you being here. And yeah, these are my final words, my final goodbyes, and I will see you in season 2. Alright guys, bye everybody, and remember, I actually don't have a closing remark. Do it for you, and only you, because you will be fulfilled. Alright, anyways, bye guys, see you in the fall.